Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And wargaming truly never ceases to amaze, especially with what they can cook up on their own. Obviously, with where their game's at this point, we are going to be seeing more and more paper ship designs and more fantastical designs, shall we say. I think that's a pretty good category to throw these new ships in. They are pretty crazy, pretty fantastical, and I might even hazard to say downright, they're a bit of a doozy. So let's go ahead and check out these new ships. There is a link to the dev blog in the description down below where these new ships were announced. I will be throwing any relevant images or artwork up on the screen as we get to them. But again, if you want to check it out for yourself, link down there. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button. It helps on the YouTube side of things. So, alright, let's go ahead and get on into these new ships. The dev blog is titled New Ships Closed Test 14.3. Captains, update 14.3 is approaching fast. That means we have news to share about new ships entering the game. First ship, keep in mind, this is the opening ship for this dev blog. The American cruiser Cambridge, Tier 9. Yep, those guns. Yep, we'll get to them. A hypothetical embodiment of the 1940 preliminary design heavy cruiser study Scheme 3 had been used to repurpose the hull of Oregon City-class cruiser USS Cambridge, CA-126, which was in the early stages of construction when World War II came to an end. Armed with three twin 305mm turrets, Cambridge packs heavy caliber guns for a cruiser. She makes up for the small number of individual guns by enjoying standard cruiser dispersion, fast reload for her caliber, and improved ricochet angles on her AP shells. When mixed, this cocktail of elements ensures that Cambridge has no trouble dishing out damage. Good concealment allows her to get in close, and she'll certainly need it, as her main battery range is rather mediocre. In terms of survivability, Cambridge has significant advantages and drawbacks. A specialized repair team's consumable similar to that found on Salem will help her tank significant damage, but a vulnerable citadel and a 60-second fire duration, on the other hand, can spell a quick end. For her other consumables, she has access to a standard cruiser damage control party and a choice between hydroacoustic search and DFAA. When taking the helm of Cambridge, use her concealment and accurate main battery to catch opponents by surprise, as a well-timed and placed salvo can easily bring you some devastating strike achievements against enemy cruisers. Keep an eye on suspected enemy destroyer positions. The lack of surveillance radar means you can be caught out in the open and held under the detected status. Play with a friendly destroyer screen can mitigate this risk. Against enemy battleships, concealment and cover are your friends. Avoid direct engagements if possible, and look for distracted enemies. Alright, so this is what? The third Oregon City-class cruiser hull we have in the game. We have what? The Rochester, we have the Tulsa, and now we have the Cambridge. So, a recycled hull with some recycled guns. At first I was like, okay, like the hull, the new destroyer, it's the same hull as the Forrest Sherman, but we have a new unique set of guns. I thought that too here, where like, okay, at least they're modeling some new guns. But then I remembered, oh yeah, Congress is a thing, and she has twin 305mm turrets, which I do suspect these are essentially, the base models of, with some tweaks here and there. Might be wrong, but now that I'm, looking at them, like, yeah, that looks like the Congress's twin 305mm turret right there. So, Wargaming most certainly not beating the allegations there that they haven't modeled anything new here recently. But an interesting combination indeed. So, the Rochester and the Tulsa, if you've ever played those two ships, they aren't overly survivable because, it is a American cruiser hull, like the description says. The Citadel is very much exposed. But 6 305mm guns with the American AP, that's pretty good, with cruiser dispersion on those guns. That's also pretty dang good, and makes me want to get this ship for that right there. So it's an interesting combination of, excellent firepower, but just terrible survivability. The true definition of a glass cannon. So let's take a look at the stats here. So you get the 6 305mm guns, 16.1 kilometer maximum firing range. That is not a lot. AP shell damage, maximum damage 8,900. They come out the tubes at 762 meters a second. Sigma of 2.05. That is pretty good. What's the reload time? 12.5 seconds. So, of course, you can throw the module on there. Some adrenaline rush. Keep in mind, too, you have the Salems. The Salems, specialized repair teams. That's a lot of wiggle room. Well, it's not a ton of wiggle room. You can ride that, right? Because you have the Salem's repair teams to back you up, but you can afford to eat a little bit of damage and ride that adrenaline rush and get that 12.5 second reload down even lower. What's the concealment on this thing? Torpedo main battery, maximum. Where is the concealment? Does it not? Oh, there it is. 12.2 kilometers base. So, module, yeah, you throw the module in there and the commander skill in there. You're looking at what? 9 kilometers? Somewhere-ish there? I don't think you can get it down to 8 kilometers, but 9 kilometer concealment. That's pretty gnarly. It's either 9 or like right under 10, somewhere in there, just doing the math off the top of my head. So that is a properly sneaky cruiser with 305mm guns. Again, you only have a 16.1 kilometer range, but cruiser dispersion, the maximum dispersion is only 144 meters. That's almost nothing with talking about shells like that. So, yeah, this the Cambridge, that's a strong opening for this dev blog, and a pretty good tone setter for the rest of this dev blog. So that's the first one. The second one is the Pan-Asian destroyer Nanning, which is a tier 9, and they do not have an image for this ship yet, which made me think, oh, it's a new ship model. It's not. So, Nanning is based on a large Japanese destroyer design that could have been built during World War II, then transferred to the USSR as war reparations and rearmed. In the mid-1950s, the ships could be transferred further to the PRC Navy. The ship is named after one of the major cities in China. Built off of the hull of Hayate, so it's a Hayate, Nanning is rearmed with a deadly main battery of 6 130mm Soviet guns, combining decent reload times with flat ballistics, good fire chance, and high shell alpha. Her versatility is further improved by deep-water torpedoes launched from her 10 tubes. While they reload slowly and have mediocre damage, these torpedoes give Nanning a solid punch against heavier enemy vessels at a decent range. For consumables, Nanning brings a standard damage con party, a classic Pan-Asian smoke generator, the standard destroyer engine boost, as well as access to DFAA, all in separate slots. So quite a toolbox there. Literally the next slide. While her toolbox of armaments and consumables makes Nanning a very well-rounded destroyer, her main drawbacks would be poor concealment with a best concealment range of 6.5 kilometers. Fans of hybrid destroyers will feel at home captaining Nanning, as her guns and torpedoes make her a threat to any target. Focus on supporting friendly destroyers during the early stages of battle by putting your guns to work. If the enemy destroyers are sunk, you'll have free reign to harass battleships and cruisers with torpedo runs and main battery fire from smoke. The main threat to your ship will come from enemy radar cruisers and being spotted at inopportune moments by enemy destroyers, so ensure that you keep an eye on the positions of these ships. As the Ning's model is still under development, we'll be showing it in one of our future publications. Keep an eye out. So, a Hayate with Soviet 130mm guns, deep-water torpedoes, and a smorgasbord of consumables. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty formidable. It's kind of giving me... Oh, God, I just had the name of the ship on my tongue, and then it left. It was a steel... Soviet destroyer, and then nobody got it. They re-released it for coal, and still nobody got it. Not the Nevsky. No, that's a cruiser, Sealord. Oh my God. I can't think of the thing's name, but yeah, it's a hybrid destroyer too. Nobody got it. Had a super hill. it's kind of giving me that same vibes. I mean, they're both hybrid destroyers, right? Not hybrid like plane hybrid, like half torpedo boat, half gunboat. That seems to be what they're going for here, obviously. So, yeah, I'm just getting into like torpedo destroyers and such. So I'll watch your career with great interest type of situation here with the Nanning. But yet again, it's a kit bashed Hayate, right? Hayate, 130 millimeter Soviet guns, deep water torpedoes. Bob's your uncle. There you go. Now, probably one of the most interesting boats we've gotten in a while is, and I can't believe this is a real name. The Royal Navy has a naming problem, and ignoring it will not help. The Irresistible, which is a Tier 10, not British battleship, but a Commonwealth battleship. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We'll get to that in a second. A hypothetical further development of the Vanguard class battleship, armed with 234mm main battery guns, which were considered by the Admiralty in the late 1930s as a future weapons system. The ship would have been built in Britain in the late 1940s and subsequently transferred to the Royal Australian Navy. Irresistible takes its name from the Royal Navy battleship that was sunk during the Dardanelles campaign, a landmark event in the history of Commonwealth armed forces. With a name like this, who couldn't resist? Irresistible continues an excellent ship naming convention while packing the heat with a main battery of 16 234mm guns, boasting good damage per minute with both HE and AP shells. Irresistible's flat ballistics makes her a potent threat with a relatively short main battery range, with a dispersion curve similar to that found on Illinois. Furthermore, the ship also enjoys good concealment. For consumables, Irresistible brings the standard battleship combination of damage control party and repair party, but has an ace up her sleeve in the form of a crawling smoke generator. And she'll need it, as a verbal citadel, weak armor, and small hit point pool means she can't take damage for long. In battle, Irresistible works primarily as a glass cannon. Good use of the crawling smoke generator with friendly ships nearby to spot the enemy will let you rack up the damage in record time. Keep an eye out for broadside targets, as her AP shells pack very respectable alpha damage. Cruisers showing citadels will quickly regret their choices, while battleships showing too much side will eat chunks of damage. Battling targets will find themselves burned to the waterline in record time. Just make sure you're firing from cover, because you're in for a bad time if they resist by shooting back. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. They Illinois'd a Vanguard. So yet again, this is another ship that is just... This is what? Just like the first ship on this list, the Cambridge, this is what, the third Vanguard-based ship in the game now? Because we have the Vanguard, we have the Valparaiso coming out here very soon, and now we have the Irresistible. It's like, okay, this might be the fourth Vanguard hull. No, sorry, this is not the fourth Vanguard hull. Never mind. I got confused with something else. So this is the third Vanguard hull we have in game now. Granted, it's an interesting thing, right? Like, Illinois is a fun ship. I enjoy playing Illinois. And Irresistible, from what it sounds like, is, a British Illinois. Could be very interesting, right? So, it's not a bad thing per se, but it's like, again, wargaming, more recycled models here. So let's take a look at some of her stats. Ooh, that is very low HP for a tier 10. 76,800 HP. Oof. You do have 32mm plating, though. So those 16 234mm guns, which are Goliath guns, the AP, 5,750 maximum AP shell damage with an initial velocity of 841 meters a second. That is quite hot. HE shells are 3,350 maximum damage. They can pin 39mm of armor with a 16% fire chance per shell. With 16 shells, oof. And they too come out the barrels at 841 meters a second. She has 1.8 Sigma, which isn't great by tier 10 standards, but considering you have 16 shells, and a 10.5 second reload time too. 10.5 second reload time, 1.8 Sigma, 841 meters a second initial velocity is pretty insane. Now, we can't see the rest of the stats, you know, like the air drag coefficients and such, but they did say she has flat arcs, right? So that is, yeah, flat ballistics. Ooh, so flat arcs, so these guns going to be good from what we're seeing here. So what else? What's the concealment? The concealment is 14.9, so you'll be able to get it down to, what, 12, lower 12s, maybe upper 11 kilometers with your consumables, with your modules and your commander skill. And she has the crawling smoke generator. What's the smoke firing penalty? Does it list it here? Detectability after firing main guns and smoke, only 10.2 kilometers. And the range on the guns, 20 kilometers. Oh my god, what do you... Look, I mean, I you know, she has flat arcs, but it's going to depend upon, you know, what exactly is different about the ballistics for the shells in terms of, like, the air drag coefficient and all that jazz. But 20 kilometers, man, that's... Wow. If you're dunking on targets at that range, you deserve it. But only a 10-kilometer smoke firing penalty is also quite nice. So, dang, yeah, the first, well, not the first, but, well, the first tier 10 Commonwealth battleship is this thing. It's something, all right. Again, like, it could be like the Illinois and be a, you know, a home run. Illinois is great, you know, with the AP and the HE, you know, you're like the best battle tanking battleship in game, because when you go up against other battleships, you can just melt them with your main battery guns. And again, you have Des Moines guns and, you know, that wonderful American AP for when you find stuff broadside. This thing is, you know, bigger guns than the 203 millimeter guns that you have on the Illinois. So yeah, it's like you have what, two Goliaths strapped together for your ship. So there's that. No, it's a Goliath and a half, right? Yeah, it's a Goliath and a half. So yeah, that, you know, and that you think, okay, this has got to be it, right? That's the most insane thing we've seen so far. Ladies and gentlemen, no, the most insane thing is coming up right now. And trust me, I too, when I was reading through this, I thought, oh well, that's it. You know, that's the most absurd thing that we're gonna get for a minute. No, it's the next ship, which is the Dutch battleship Willem de Eerste, tier 10. That's right, the Dutch are also getting a tier 10 battleship. And here we go. A development of the G3 design battlecruiser, which could have been built in Britain in the 1920s and transferred to the Allied Netherlands during World War II. The ship is named after the first king of the Netherlands, inheriting the name from the Dutch ship of the line of the 19th century. Based on the hull of the Duncan, Willem de Eerste may seem a little undergunned for tier 10. Relatively light main battery of 9 419mm guns isn't the most impressive for her tier, but good accuracy and decent range ensures that enemies will have to respect the guns. But Wilhelm has another card to play. Is it Wilhelm in Dutch, or is it like, do they actually pronounce the W? We're going to go with the W for now. As it is the first battleship to be armed with long-range HE bomb airstrikes, which deals good damage and has a good penetration. To aid her positioning, Wilhelm has good speed and decent maneuverability for a battleship, as well as a small detectability range. For her consumables, she brings the standard damage control party and a repair party that will serve to mitigate her weak armor scheme. Small HP pool and vulnerable citadel. Lastly, a standard engine boost will help reinforce her speed advantage over other battleships. Speed and stealth are the name of the game for Willem. Oh, it's Willem. It's Willem, not Wilhelm. Use these advantages to attain good positions from which you can both put the guns and airstrike to work and rack up the damage. If you find yourself pressured by the enemy, utilize your concealment to disengage. In the meantime, the airstrikes give Willem a relatively unique capability for a battleship. The ability to deal good damage from stealth, which you can put to good use while waiting for your repair party to come off of cooldown. Note that due to technical limitations with airstrike functionality, Willem will enter testing with deck-mounted depth charges, which deal heavy damage. We're currently working on a solution after which should be provided with the ASW airstrike. As Willem de Eerste model is under development, we will be showing it in one of our future publications. So, this is the one I got confused with. This will be, I believe, the 4th Duncan hull in game. because we have the Duncan, we have the Scarlet Thunder, we have which one? I think either Libertad or not the Loria, Andes, the Los Andes are based on the Duncan hull, and now we're getting the Willem de Eerste. So this will be 4 Duncans in game, and some players complain about having too many Fletchers in game. So yet again, another copy paste, mess with the details here and there. So yeah. Now Willem de Eerste, kind of nuts. A battleship with an airstrike, which it's just absurd. How long is the airstrike for? They said that it has a long range airstrike. So she does only have 75,300 HP, which is quite low, like they said. She does get 32mm plating, however. The guns have 1.9 Sigma, maximum dispersion of 282 meters at 22.2 kilometers. The 28-second reload time, that's pretty good. Airstrikes. 15-kilometer airstrikes. Oh my god. You get 6 bombs per payload. And how many planes do you get? You get 12 bombs. 12 planes per attacking flight. 6 bombs per plane. Oh my god, that's a lot of bombs. Whew. That is sheesh. Yeah, okay, you're not gonna have a good time with that. Maximum bomb damage 6,800. Armor penetration capacity 37 millimeters of armor and a 39% fire chance per bomb. And keep in mind, you have 6 bombs coming out of 12 planes for 72 bombs. An airstrike. You get 2 of these airstrikes. They take 120 seconds to reload. And keep in mind that new Dutch commander, where you can get even more. Oh my god. This is not exactly what I imagine most of the player base really wants right now. Wargaming, more airstrikes after getting, the new tech line, the new Dutch light cruiser tech line, which has even more airstrikes. So, whew, yeah. Now, granted, the ship, again, it's got 75,000 HP at tier 10, which is literally 30,000 HP less than what most tier 10 battleships have now. So that is quite a lot. And she only has 9 419mm guns at tier 10, which is also not a lot by tier 10. So she is giving up a lot to get these airstrikes, but my god, maybe should have pumped the brakes on that one a little bit. Wargaming, I don't think that one's going to be the most well received by the community. So 2 takeaways from this dev blog. Wargaming has no problems kit bashing, and 2, they are not beating the accusations that they don't know how to model anything new, because these are all copy and paste kit bashed ships, which again, some of my favorite ships in game are copy and paste kit bash ships. But something truly new, a unique model would have been very well welcomed in this article. And hopefully we'll see that in the future, but it's been a minute since we've seen an actually like vanilla, new ship from the ground up. So that is interesting. Again, seeing that going forward. Let's see how long it takes for them to do that. Eventually, I would think they'd have to, but who knows if they're able to do this level of kit bashing. But very interesting ships. I'm very interested in Irresistible and the Cambridge. The Willem de Eerste. That's something that I'll definitely be keeping my eye on, as I'm sure most of you will too. So that's it for this dev blog, fellas. If you would like to check it out for yourself, you can check out the link down below. If you found yourself enjoying this video, make sure you drop the like or leave a comment before you leave the channel, and also subscribe to the channel before you leave as well. Helps out on the YouTube side of things. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.